So I was raised in a home where people mattered. My dad took really good care of his clients. My mom was the most compassionate person you will ever meet. My dad spent a ton of time with us outside of the house. My dad was a really active guy, and I was a very active little girl. I loved riding my roller skates down the sidewalk. I played volleyball, basketball, and track, and my dad was a huge part of just being involved in those activities. When I was in the 6th grade, my teacher told my parents that I had a learning disability. And I remember the day my dad was the one who went to that meeting, and I was sitting outside waiting for him to come out of this meeting. And I was scared. I just thought I was going to be in so much trouble. And he came out of the building and he looked ticked. And so I thought for sure I was in trouble. We get in the car and he's got his hands on the steering wheel like this. He's just looking straight ahead. And he says, "Your teacher is an idiot." And I thought, I am off the hook. And he didn't say anything else, and I knew not to say anything because I knew he was mad. So we go home, and he walks in the door, and my mom's home getting dinner ready. And she says, "What's going on? Is Darla okay?" And he said, "Her teacher thinks she has a learning disability, and I don't believe her." I didn't even know what the word learning disability meant. All I needed to know is that my dad didn't think I had one, and that was good enough for me. When I went to college, because I did so bad in high school, I wasn't super excited about college. I really didn't think I'd do very well, and I didn't. School's almost over, and I'm not coming back to college, and I'm not smart, so this isn't for me. And this woman walks in, and she sits in front of me, and she turns around and starts talking to me, and I was a little irritated because I really wasn't there to talk to anybody. I was just there to get the grade and get out. And she says, "What's your major?" And I said, "Music." And I said, "But school isn't for me, I'm leaving. I'm about to flunk out. I'm on academic probation, and I'm not a smart girl, so I'm just gonna go get a job somewhere." And she looked at me, she kind of turned her head and said, "What? That's crazy. You seem like a really intelligent girl. Why aren't you doing better?" And I said, "I don't know. I was told I had a learning disability and that I would never go to college, and maybe they were right." And she just said, "Girl, you need to come and see me. I'm an English professor, and I would like to talk to you. And I need to see you tomorrow." And she goes, "Here's the time, I think it was sometime in the afternoon, and you need to come to my office." She said, "What are your interests?" And ironically enough, I love to read, I love to write, and I love to speak. And she said, "Well, why don't you change your degree to English?" And she goes, "I'll help you with that. And then why don't you get your master's degree and become a teacher? And then maybe, you could become a professor." Well, no teacher had ever said anything like that to me before, ever. And I was shocked that she thought I could do anything like that. And she got me a tutor. And that next semester, I went from a DF student to an AB student. I met a leadership professor by the name of Dr. Susan Fritz, who said, "Hey, we've got a graduate assistantship available. We're looking for people like you." I was floored. So I went and I applied and I got it. And I got into grad school with not so hot of grades at the beginning of my college. They believed in me, and that was kind of where my leadership journey begins. Grad school just gave me a vision for what leadership could be, and that was it. 24 years old, and I have not looked back since. The vision for leadership that I have is that everyone is worthy of leadership development. I learned that through my dad, I learned it through my mom. I saw because leadership is influence, it's not title or position. And I saw that you don't have to be brilliant, you don't have to have money, you don't have to have power, you don't have to have prestige to influence people. You just have to have a desire to do it. I was always studying leadership, always reading leadership books, always looking through life with a leadership lens. It was something down deep inside of me that I just couldn't get rid of. And about 8 years ago, I got a call. It's one of those calls you never want to get, on March 7th, 2011. At 11:30 at night, it was from my sister, and she told me that my dad had died of a massive heart attack. While I knew what leadership concepts were, I didn't understand the concept of legacy until he died. I knew what the word meant, but I didn't know how it felt. And legacy was what he gave to me. I really, after he died, began to think about what's my legacy? What do I want to leave behind?